power to do something that would actually change that, and they didn't.
Jan Logie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 285,000 children in this country are living in poverty, and that is because of this government's decisions. That number boggles my mind. I grew up in a city of around 45,000 people. To think 6 cities worth of children are now living without the basics in this country offends me at a very deep level. About 1 in 4 of our children are now living in poverty, and they are our children, and their poverty is our poverty. And as already mentioned, 2 out of 5 of these children have parents who are working. And to quote, as has been quoted many times in the last year or so in this House, the words of Nelson Mandela, "Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity. It is an act of justice. Like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural. It is man-made and can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings. That is, the actions of government, policies and budgets, the policies and budgets that we have not seen from this government. This government has chosen not to measure poverty. They've knowingly hidden the real levels of poverty from us, while they happily used figures that they knew were incorrect to justify their performance. Today in this House, they've listed off all the money they're spending on these children, these lucky children, and told us that the Salvation Army has suggested that government spend less on children. That's disingenuous and frankly offensive. This government has taken $1.1 billion a year from all of us and given it to the top 10% of income earners. That's $1.1 billion a year they could have used to reduce poverty, to feed our kids and make sure they're warm and healthy. 285,000 children without the basics cannot be dismissed with misinformation. Under this government, there are 45,000 more children living in poverty than when this government came to power. That's an entire city worth of children without enough. This government has told us child poverty is a problem of the parents. Then they've told us the country can't afford to pay family carers a legal wage. They've told us they can't afford to extend paid parental leave. They've told the courts that rest homes shouldn't be required to pay women equal pay for work of equal value. They've reduced the bargaining powers of workers, and they've made it more difficult to get disability support. They're not informing beneficiaries of their protections and entitlements. How can parents help their children when this government is creating barriers to the basic entitlements and undermining the ability of those in work to look after themselves and their children? I hear from far too many sole parents that they are trying to look after their children and feeling ashamed for not being able to be in paid work. I've heard of parents having to choose between medication for their children and food, worrying that if they choose the food, then there may be a notification to SIFs for neglect. That is the level of pain that this government is responsible, and it is not the vision of an inclusive society that this country was built on. Children have told us directly that they really worry when their parents are stressing out about not having enough money, and school lunches aren't going to solve that. And children have told us that they think this government is giving money to the rich people and that those rich people are spending it on things they don't need. We need to listen to the wisdom of our children. Poverty may feel inexorable to those burdened by it, but the truth is we can reduce it. It's a matter of values. We have enough in this country.
Melissa Lee.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to